Okay, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a little bit different video. I wanted to put some information into AI and have it kick out an infographic for some of the key bindings. So I have a lot of comments and questions, people asking how am I getting this kind of shot off the putter, and it's not off the putter, it's actually off a wedge or a driver, or using that in combination with like jumps and things like that. So I wanted to show in game real quick where you can find all that information. If you hit options, then you can go into your bindings here, and this, if you're using like um, uh, like a gaming keypad or whatever, controller instead of keyboard and mouse, I think you can configure a lot of that stuff on here. Yeah, gamepad. So it'll let you configure that on that side of things. I personally use a keyboard and mouse, so I'm looking at like which buttons do what on here. That's where you can get to your bindings. And then this is the default stuff. I'm pretty sure this is how mine is set up right now. So um, I do have on here that there's an H key for chat, but also it's you can hit enter. I honestly don't know that I've ever used the H key. And like I say, most of the time I play this with anybody that I would chat with. It would be in Discord or where I'm just talking to the mic, for you guys or whatever. So, but here's your basic button configuration. In race mode, you have ASWD, just like most inter video games. Forward, left, right, stop, back up, whatever. Spacebar is that jump. So you hear me say like with some happy little jumpies or whatever. That's what I'm using as my spacebar to do those jumps. Um, and then V, when we're looking for like the scrolls and the presents and the coins and all that kind of stuff, V is where you can like come up off the ball and actually just free zoom around the map or whatever you need to do. Your mouse scroll wheel here, up and down, is going to be your zoom in and zoom out. So, and then if you hit, for me, if I push the key directly down, it's actually my Discord binding as well to talk in Discord, but it'll actually reset your view on that. So I didn't make a note of that. But again, that's just something you can kind of, and you have to, I have a weird setup. Like I have a 49-inch curved monitor. So like my normal resolution of like where it sits on the FOV of the ball is kind of strange. You'll hear me complain about like having to look through things to be able to see it. So you kind of need to screw around with that a little bit too. But anyway, your zooming in and out is on the mouse key there. And your putter, wedge, and driver. So that's your number row above ASWD, 1, 2, and 3. And again, you can change those, but this is the factory default setting. So one's going to be your putter, two's going to be a wedge, which is that jumping shot you'll see me make every once in a while for like, well, different holes or trying to get a scroll or whatever else. But you can use jump in combination with all of these, like 2, and then use the jump to kind of slow down in midair, or try to get a little bit more distance out of a 3 or something like that. That's your 3 clubs. I get that question a lot. 2 other buttons I don't mention a whole lot. You'll see me reset, like if I miss, instead of waiting for the map to reset me, I'll hit F. Now if you have stroke penalty turned on, that will add an extra stroke to the thing set, and they don't have that very much on the challenges, but it will actually add an extra stroke to your stroke count if you're using F, unless you have that off. So that resets your last shot, whereas R will put you back at spawn. So like if you've made 2 shots so far and you hit F, that's going to take you back 1 shot. R is going to start you completely back over on that hole. So just kind of understand the difference between those two. And you can hit R and sometimes hit F, and it'll still take you back to it'll take you to respawn to the spawn point and then back to your last shot. But I wouldn't count on that to work 100% of the time. The turning your ball where your light is on, where you can kind of see on like dark maps, like on mines or whatever, that is your L key. And I think it actually stays on until you turn it back off. L just toggles it on and off. Your tab button is actually your scoreboard. That's just the normal scoreboard to see how many strokes and what par, for each hole and all that kind of stuff. And then this one's the one that I've had a lot of questions, or not a lot, but I've had a couple questions about here recently, and I've never really stopped to explain this. If you're inside a map on a challenge and you want to kind of check your progress, like if it's a distance one or so many bogeys or whatever, it has little sliding bars. You've seen that on the videos, I'm sure, where it pops up on the kind of the right hand side here. But if you hit your Alt key, mine I use on the obviously on the left side of the keyboard, but the left Alt key that will show you where you are on those challenges. The other thing that's good to check is like if you see something, you're like, oh, let me see if I can turn on jumps or clubs. You can immediately tell whether you're going that's allowed or not on that challenge because it'll say failed across it if it won't allow any of those options that you have turned down. So a lot of times I'll check that before I start the video, and I don't really show that. So that's kind of my bad. I didn't think about people not knowing about that function there. So that's a good way to kind of tell, and I wish I would have completed my challenges. We could go in and kind of see this. But anyway, this is a layout of pretty much everything, your default bindings and everything. I'm going to try to figure out how to put this into the description line below so you can download this little infographic if you need it or screenshot it, however you want to do it. But I'll try to make it as easy as possible for you to get to. And then, like I say, if you have any kind of questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, drop a comment, shoot me a message, whatever. I try to reply to every comment that I have come into the channel. So more than happy to try to help anybody out that I possibly can. So anyway, hope this helps somebody. And like I say, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop it in the comments, and we appreciate it. Have a great night.